Control your mind, your emotions, and your money, or they will control your life. The lesson the rich learned early. If you keep living like this, money will keep deciding who you are. Your mood will decide what kind of day you have. Your habits will decide how far you get. And none of those things were designed to make you free. They were designed to keep you predictable, tired, reactive, and broke. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Are you actually choosing your life, or are you just managing the damage as it happens? Be honest. You wake up already stressed about money. You walk through the day negotiating with anxiety. You tell yourself, I'll fix this when things calm down, knowing things never calm down. That alone should scare you, because that is not bad luck. That is a system, and you are inside it. Here is the truth wealthy people learn early. Money is not just numbers. Money is control. Money is mood control. Money is time control. Money is decision control. When you do not control money, it invades every part of your mind. It tells you what you can say yes to. It tells you what you must say yes to. It tells you who you must tolerate, what you must accept, and how much of yourself you're allowed to express. That's not freedom. That's a contract you never signed but live under every day. You've been trained to treat money like a mystery, like it's for certain types of people, like it's talent, like it's luck. That programming is not an accident. When you believe money is not your thing, you stop fighting for control. You settle, you cope, you numb. You buy little escapes to feel better for 1 hour and wake up with less power than you had yesterday. That's exactly how people stay stuck for life. But here's where everything flips. Money is emotional, not mathematical. Your spending is emotional. Your debt is emotional. Your excuses are emotional. Your frustration with work is emotional. Your cravings are emotional. Your I deserve this purchases are emotional. Until you learn to control the emotions that drive financial behavior, you will repeat the same month forever, even if you double your income. That is why some people earn more and still feel broke. They never took the wheel. They just got a faster car and stayed asleep. Control your mind. Control your emotions. Control your money. It sounds simple. It is not easy. But it is the only path to financial freedom that actually works long-term. Not hacks, not trends, not get rich this year. Control. Discipline is freedom dressed in something less glamorous. Here's what nobody told you. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to stop living on autopilot. Wealthy people are not smarter than you. They are just less available to chaos. They build rules around their money and defend those rules with their mindset. They train their mind to act like an investor, not a consumer. They refuse the emotional purchases that buy them 5 minutes of comfort and steal 5 years of progress. They build stability first, then expansion. Most people chase expansion with zero stability and wonder why it all collapses every time. Listen closely. If your thoughts are undisciplined, your money will be undisciplined. If your emotions are unstable, your spending will be unstable. If your self-image is weak, your financial boundaries will be weak. You cannot build wealth with a mind that is at war with itself. Right now, you're going to make a decision. Either you keep letting your emotional reactions run your financial reality, or you learn how to take ownership of your financial story. This is the moment where you stop saying one day and start saying, I'm done living like this. In this conversation, I'm going to show you what the rich learn early. Money is psychological first, practical second. I'm going to show you why you feel stuck, who taught you to think this way, and how to start reprogramming yourself into someone who doesn't beg for freedom, but builds it. Because if you don't choose to master your mind, your emotions, and your money, they will master you, and they already are. Mental programming. Your money story was installed, not chosen. You were not born thinking money is stressful, money is scarce, money is hard to keep, money is dangerous, money is not for people like us. You were taught that. You absorbed it. You watched the adults around you, and you built beliefs. Those beliefs turned into your rules, and those rules are still running your financial life today, whether you admit it or not. Here is what I mean. Every time you say, I'm just not good with money, that's not a fact. That's a script. Every time you say, as long as the bills are paid, I'm fine, that's not peace, that's survival pride. Every time you say, saving is impossible right now, most of the time, that's not math. That's a defense mechanism. You're protecting yourself from the guilt of not being in control. Your financial behavior today is the echo of conversations you didn't even participate in, arguments about money you overheard, pressure you felt, Mood swings in the house when money was tight, the silence when things went wrong, the tension when it was time to talk about spending, the shame when something couldn't be afforded, the celebration when something expensive was bought, even if it wasn't smart. That all became your normal. And what becomes normal for you becomes justified by you. That's why people will defend bad financial patterns like they are part of their identity. I work hard, I deserve it. At least I'm enjoying my life. I'll worry about the future later. Listen to the language. It's not strategy, it's survival. It's self-soothing. It's emotional anesthesia. Wealthy people are not emotionless. They just learn to question the script. They don't let early programming sit on the throne forever. They ask, does this belief create freedom, or does it create dependency? Does this habit build power, or does it drain power? Does this story move me toward ownership, or lock me into paycheck panic? If the belief doesn't serve, they kill it. Fast. Most people never do this audit. They grow up, start earning, repeat the same stress they watched growing up, and call it adult life. That's not adult life. That is inherited financial trauma running unchecked. Here is the shift you make starting now. You stop saying, this is just how I am with money. You start saying, this is how I was trained to be with money, and I am no longer available for that version of me. Because if you don't rewrite the story writes you. The emotional loop that keeps you broke. Every financial mistake you repeat has one root cause: emotion. Not numbers, not timing, not luck. Emotion. The hidden loop between how you feel and how you spend runs your life far more than any financial plan ever will. Here's the pattern. You feel anxious, empty, unappreciated, or out of control. You look for something to fix that feeling fast. You open a tab, scroll through something shiny, hit buy, and for 10 minutes you feel powerful again. The brain rewards you with a chemical hit. Then reality kicks in. The regret, the guilt, the pressure. So what do you do next time you feel bad? You buy again. That's the loop. It's the emotional credit card cycle that keeps entire generations quietly enslaved while convincing themselves they're treating or motivating themselves. This is why wealthy people don't just budget their money, they budget their emotions. They understand that an unregulated mind will always destroy a regulated budget. They don't make financial decisions in emotional states because they know feelings change, but consequences don't. If they're angry, sad, or euphoric, they wait. They have systems, not moods. Now look at your own triggers. What are the emotional holes you're trying to fill with things? What do you buy when you're tired of waiting for success? Who are you trying to impress when you overspend? Those are not random questions. They're diagnostic, because money doesn't disappear. It obeys the orders of your unresolved emotions. The real shift happens when you learn to separate emotion from decision. The feeling can scream, but it doesn't get to vote. You recognize the emotion, you name it, you sit with it, but you don't swipe your card to silence it. When you do that consistently, your confidence grows. You start to experience control, and control feels better than impulse ever did. This is not about becoming cold or robotic. It's about emotional maturity, the foundation of every wealthy mindset. When you learn to face discomfort instead of paying to escape it, your bank account starts to tell a different story. Reprogramming the financial mind. Your financial life will never rise above the identity you hold in your mind. You can study every investment book on the shelf, memorize formulas, attend seminars, and still find yourself repeating the same behaviors: saving, then slipping, earning, then wasting, planning, then abandoning. Why? Because knowledge doesn't overwrite identity. Only reprogramming does. Your financial results are a reflection of your mental operating system. That system was installed long before you had a bank account. It tells you how much money feels normal to hold, how much wealth you're allowed to imagine, and how much success feels safe. If you've ever noticed that when you start earning more, something inside you subtly finds ways to bring you back to the old balance, sudden expenses, careless spending, lost motivation, that's your subconscious thermostat doing its job. It's not sabotaging you by accident. It's protecting your identity from expansion. Think of your mind as a financial autopilot. It doesn't care where you say you want to go, it only takes you where it's programmed to. So if deep down you still believe money changes people, I'm not meant to be rich, or it's greedy to want more, your autopilot will make sure you never arrive at wealth. It will find subtle ways to neutralize progress, because comfort always beats logic to the subconscious. Here's where reprogramming begins. First, awareness. You cannot change what you don't confront. Write down the phrases you grew up hearing about money, every one of them. Then ask yourself, did those beliefs come from people who were financially free or from people surviving? Most of what you absorbed came from fear, not abundance. Recognizing that breaks its power. Second, create new mental associations. Every time you hear money is stressful, respond internally with money is a tool for freedom. Every time your mind whispers, I can't afford it, shift to how can I create it? This isn't blind optimism, it's neurological rewiring. The brain learns through repetition. What you repeat becomes reality because neurons fire together, then wire together. Third, visualization. Most people use their imagination to rehearse worry, not wealth. They imagine losing, failing, owing. That trains the subconscious to equate money with fear, so it avoids abundance. Flip that pattern. Spend 5 minutes each morning visualizing yourself calm, in control, managing wealth with wisdom, generosity, and clarity. Feel the stability, not the stress. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and vividly imagined experience. It simply follows the most emotionally charged image. Fourth, identity statements. Wealth doesn't come to those who chase it. It comes to those who are congruent with it. You can't build millionaire habits with a poverty identity. Start claiming a new identity aloud. I am a master of my finances. I am in control of my emotions. I create value and attract abundance. You're not lying, you're installing. The version of you who believes that will act differently, spend differently, plan differently, and lead differently. Finally, environment. You can't reprogram your mind if you're surrounded by the same emotional noise that programmed it in the first place. Audit your environment. Who do you spend time with? What content do you consume daily? Is it growth or gossip, discipline or distraction? Your environment is not neutral. It's a script. Change it, and your subconscious gets new lines to read. The rich don't become rich by chance. They evolve into it psychologically. They build wealth internally before it ever shows externally. They think differently about problems, about time, about value. They treat every challenge as training. They know that their mind is the first asset they must invest in. That's the secret no one wants to hear, because it requires responsibility, not luck. You can keep collecting information, or you can start constructing identity. The first will make you feel informed. The second will make you free. Once your mind accepts abundance as normal, every financial action you take will align with it naturally. You won't need willpower to save, to invest, to plan. You'll do it because that's who you are now. This is what reprogramming feels like, at first uncomfortable, then undeniable. The moment your identity shifts, your results follow without force. You stop chasing wealth, you start embodying it. The psychology of wealth and scarcity. Every decision you make with money begins with one invisible question your subconscious keeps asking. Do I believe there is enough? Everything, your saving, your risk tolerance, your generosity, your confidence, stems from that one answer. The difference between the wealthy and the struggling isn't education, IQ, or even opportunity. It's the underlying operating system that governs their sense of sufficiency. Wealth is not created in the wallet first. It's created in the mind's definition of enough. When you live in scarcity, you think small even when you earn big. Scarcity is not about the amount of money. It's a mindset rooted in fear. It whispers, what if I lose it? What if I can't get more? What if I fail? That fear shapes every move you make. You delay investments that could change your future because you can't risk it. You hold on to jobs you've outgrown because security matters more than growth. You chase discounts, but ignore opportunities. Scarcity doesn't just shrink your bank account, it shrinks your capacity to think abundantly. Now compare that to the wealthy mindset. People who operate from abundance understand that money flows where value is created and directed. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? They see challenges as signals to grow, not as walls that confine them. Where scarcity focuses on preservation, abundance focuses on creation. And creation is where wealth begins. Let's take a closer look at how scarcity silently controls most people's lives. You see it in constant comparison. Someone buys a car, you feel behind. Someone travels, you feel small. Someone posts success, you question your worth. That's scarcity in disguise. It feeds on your focus. The more you compare, the more you convince your mind that there isn't enough to go around. But wealth isn't a competition, it's a reflection. The rich don't waste time watching what everyone else is doing. They're too busy building. Scarcity also hides in guilt. Many people feel uncomfortable talking about money or admitting they want more. They label ambition as greed because somewhere along the way, they learned that wanting more meant taking from someone else. That's false. Money is not a pie that runs out when someone takes a slice. It's an energy that expands when used with purpose. The guilt around money is a psychological block passed down through generations. Breaking it requires a new belief. Earning more allows you to serve more. Another symptom of scarcity is the survival high. You might recognize it. That temporary thrill of overcoming another financial crisis, of making it through again. It feels empowering for a moment, but it's a trap. Your nervous system becomes addicted to instability. You subconsciously recreate chaos because you've trained your brain to associate peace with boredom and pressure with purpose. The wealthy replace that addiction with strategic calm. They get their thrill from progress, not panic. So how do you shift from scarcity to abundance? First, expose the lie. Every thought of limitation must be challenged. There's not enough is a mental virus. Replace it with, I create value and value attracts resources. Second, practice gratitude as a discipline, not a reaction. Gratitude doesn't mean settling. It means acknowledging the abundance already present, which trains your brain to perceive opportunities instead of threats. Third, focus on growth activities daily. Read, learn, build, connect. Your brain must experience expansion to believe in expansion. Fourth, protect your energy. Negative conversations about money, fear-driven media, and pessimistic company drain abundance faster than any bad investment. The shift to abundance doesn't happen once. It's a lifelong conditioning process. But every day you choose abundance, your decisions change. You start negotiating from confidence, not desperation. You invest without panic. You share without fear. You stop seeing others' success as competition and start seeing it as confirmation. And here's the real reward. When your mind truly accepts abundance, you stop chasing money entirely. You become magnetic to it. Opportunities find you. Partnerships align with you. Prosperity follows because your vibration matches the frequency of value, not fear. You were not born to fight for scraps. You were born to create, expand, and master your reality. Scarcity is a story, one you inherited. Abundance is the truth, one you must reclaim. Emotional intelligence, the real currency of financial freedom. Money without emotional control is chaos wearing a suit. It looks impressive from the outside, but collapses under stress. This is why you see high earners living in quiet panic, chasing success yet feeling trapped by it. They mastered income, but never mastered themselves. True wealth is emotional stability under financial pressure. Emotional intelligence is not just a soft skill, it's the foundation of every lasting fortune. Most people lose money not because they lack information, but because they lack regulation. When emotions rise, logic hides. Think about the last impulsive purchase you made, the last financial argument you had, or the last opportunity you ignored out of fear. Those weren't money problems. They were emotion problems, disguised as financial decisions. You can't make long-term choices from short-term emotions and expect stability. Emotional intelligence in finance begins with awareness. When your mood dictates your money moves, you're not investing, you're reacting. The wealthy understand this intimately. They don't make decisions during emotional spikes, whether it's excitement or panic. They wait until emotion settles and reason returns. They ask, what am I feeling and what fact supports it? That simple pause saves fortunes. Next comes detachment. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It means refusing to be ruled by temporary feelings. When your sense of self-worth is tied to money, you lose perspective. Every loss feels like personal failure. Every gain feels like identity. That volatility destroys long-term vision. Detachment lets you view money as data, not drama. The moment you stop taking it personally, you start managing it powerfully. Emotional intelligence also means decoding your emotional spending triggers. For some, spending is relief from anxiety. For others, it's validation, a way to prove success to themselves or to others. The problem is that every emotional purchase borrows joy from tomorrow. Once the feeling fades, guilt replaces it, and the cycle repeats. The antidote is mindfulness. Before spending, ask, what emotion am I trying to buy? If the answer isn't clarity, peace, or progress, it's a distraction. The rich develop rituals to anchor their emotions. Meditation, journaling, exercise, gratitude, all simple but crucial. These are not luxuries, they are stabilizers. A calm mind spots opportunities faster, negotiates better, and handles losses without losing identity. When your inner world is stable, the outer world becomes more predictable. Let's be honest, most financial decisions aren't made in spreadsheets. They're made in living rooms, cars, and moments of stress. They're made after arguments, disappointments, or victories. That's where emotional mastery separates wealth builders from wealth burners. Emotional intelligence is financial insulation. It keeps your fortune safe from your impulses. And here's the paradox. The more emotionally intelligent you become, the less money controls you and the more it flows toward you. People trust emotionally stable individuals. Investors follow them. Partners rely on them. Opportunities seek them. Emotional consistency communicates power, and power attracts prosperity. This is what the emotionally wealthy understand. Control your emotional state, and your financial state will follow. You don't need more motivation. You need emotional management. You don't need another side hustle. You need self-regulation. The market rewards the calm, not the frantic. The emotional game is the real game. Every external win you want begins with an internal victory. Before chasing another strategy, stabilize your state. When you can remain composed in chaos, patient under pressure and clear under stress, money becomes easy. Because now you're not reacting, you're creating. Financial discipline, the hidden form of freedom. Everyone wants freedom, but few are willing to pay its real price. Discipline. Freedom sounds glamorous until you realize it demands structure, restraint, and consistency. Most people reject discipline because they confuse it with restriction. In truth, discipline is the bridge between desire and fulfillment. It's the silent force that turns chaos into clarity and income into independence. Here's the reality most avoid. If you can't control your spending, you don't own your life. The amount of money you make means nothing if you can't manage it. You can have a six-figure income and still live under the pressure of someone earning half that amount. Why? Because freedom is not a number, it's a system. The rich understand this deeply. They build discipline into their habits the way others build excuses into their lifestyle. Financial discipline starts with awareness, not punishment. It's not about restricting yourself to the point of misery. It's about assigning every dollar a mission. Most people let money wander without direction, then complain when it disappears. The wealthy treat money like a soldier. It works for them, or it leaves their system. Every decision is intentional. Every expense is justified. Every investment has a purpose. Discipline gives direction to what emotion would waste. Let's get practical. Discipline means budgeting, but not in the way you've been taught. Traditional budgeting focuses on lack, tracking what you can't spend. Real budgeting focuses on alignment, deciding what matters most and funding that. The rich don't ask, what can I cut? They ask, what creates the greatest return? Time, energy, money, everything they do must generate progress, not just motion. Discipline also means delayed gratification, the rarest skill in the modern world. You can tell the financial future of anyone by the amount of pleasure they can delay. Poor mindset says, I deserve it now. Wealthy mindset says, I deserve the option to choose later. The difference between those two statements defines the direction of your life. When you prioritize long-term gain over short-term comfort, you stop being a consumer and start becoming an architect. Another part of discipline is automation. The wealthy automate success, so emotion never has a chance to interfere. They set systems that invest automatically, save automatically, donate automatically. Why? Because willpower is weak under pressure, but systems don't flinch. Automation transforms discipline from an effort into an environment. The more automatic your good habits, the less room you leave for impulsive decisions. Now let's address the emotional resistance to discipline. Many people reject it because it feels restrictive, like losing freedom. In reality, undisciplined people live in invisible prisons: debt, regret, and dependence. They wake up stressed, they work for bills, they buy to escape, they repeat the cycle. Discipline is the key that opens that cell. It's not punishment, it's liberation through order. Wealthy people fall in love with discipline because it gives them power. When you know exactly where your money goes, you stop being scared of it. You start respecting it. You stop chasing it. You control it. That control creates confidence, and confidence creates expansion. Let's be clear. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not what you see in highlight reels or on social media. It's boring, repetitive, uncelebrated. It's you saying no to the fifth night out. It's you investing before you spend. It's you learning instead of scrolling. But that boredom is the soil where freedom grows. Every time you delay gratification, you expand your capacity to handle abundance. Because the universe doesn't reward those who wish. It rewards those who are prepared. Discipline also redefines pleasure. At first it feels like sacrifice, but over time it becomes satisfaction. Watching your investments grow, seeing your debts vanish, realizing your peace is not tied to payday, that's the kind of pleasure that never fades. The satisfaction of knowing you're no longer reacting to life but directing it, that's wealth. The undisciplined live for comfort. The disciplined live for freedom. Comfort fades, freedom compounds. Choose your reward. The power of financial identity. Every financial breakthrough begins with a change in identity, not income. You can force new habits for a while, but if your identity stays the same, you'll always snap back to old patterns. That's why people who win the lottery end up broke, and people who lose everything often rebuild faster the second time. Behavior follows belief. Until you see yourself as the kind of person who manages, multiplies, and respects money, your actions will keep proving your old identity right. Identity is the invisible thermostat of your financial life. It sets the temperature for what feels normal. When your results rise above your self-image, you subconsciously sabotage the excess until you're back at the level that feels familiar. That's why so many people start earning more and suddenly find new ways to spend more. The subconscious says this is too much, and the body obeys. Wealth feels uncomfortable until the identity expands to match it. So, who are you financially? Don't answer with your job title or bank balance. Answer with your relationship to money. Do you treat it with respect or resentment? Do you see it as a partner or a problem? Do you manage it as a tool or fear it as an enemy? These questions reveal more about your financial trajectory than any spreadsheet ever will. Because you will always behave in a way that confirms who you believe you are. If you see yourself as bad with money, your brain looks for proof. If you see yourself as a survivor, you'll unconsciously create crises just to keep surviving. If you see yourself as humble, you might reject abundance because you think it contradicts humility. But if you see yourself as a builder, an investor, a creator of value, your habits evolve to match that story. You act like someone who is capable of growing wealth, and eventually, you are. Changing financial identity starts with language. Every word you use programs your subconscious. Phrases like, "I'm not good with numbers," "I can't save," "I'm always behind," are verbal spells. They reinforce limitation. Replace them with identity statements that create alignment. I am a disciplined steward of money. I attract opportunities because I create value. I am calm, capable, and in control of my finances. At first, your brain will resist because it's unfamiliar. Keep going. Repetition rewires reality. The next step is environment alignment. You cannot hold a new identity while living in a space that mirrors the old one. If your environment is full of clutter, chaos, or people who normalize financial struggle, your subconscious receives a constant reminder of who you were, not who you're becoming. Clean your physical space. Curate your circle. Surround yourself with people who see growth as normal and responsibility as power. Your surroundings should affirm your new story, not drag you back into the old one. Another element of identity transformation is consistency. Identity doesn't shift because of one powerful realization. It shifts through consistent evidence. Each time you stick to your budget, delay gratification, make an informed investment, or learn instead of spending, your subconscious records proof that you are someone different. Over time, that evidence compounds until the new identity becomes automatic. What used to feel like effort becomes your baseline. You'll notice something profound when your identity changes. External validation loses importance. You stop needing to prove wealth and start embodying it. The car, the clothes, the appearance, they stop being signals of success and start being tools of convenience. Real wealth becomes internal: peace, options, stability. You no longer crave to look rich because you feel rich from within. That's the moment money begins to serve you instead of define you. Understand this clearly. Wealth is not a destination, it's a reflection. The richer your identity, the richer your reality. When you shift from earning to survive to building to thrive, everything transforms. Your habits, your opportunities, your confidence. You begin to move with quiet authority because your identity no longer doubts your worth. You can't outperform your identity, but you can upgrade it. And once you do, your external world has no choice but to follow. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. The law of value creation. Money doesn't come to those who need it. It comes to those who create value. This truth is simple, but it changes everything. The majority of people chase income. The wealthy chase impact. They understand that money is nothing more than a receipt for value delivered. The world doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for the difference your time makes. Once you understand this, you stop asking, "How can I make more money?" and start asking, "How can I make myself more valuable?" Look around. Every product, every service, every paycheck represents an exchange of value. When you add value, you attract wealth. When you withhold it, you repel it. Yet most people focus only on earning without understanding the mechanism behind it. They look for raises without improving their skill, demand opportunities without increasing their worth, and expect abundance while contributing the bare minimum. That's not how wealth works. Wealth is a reflection of the problems you solve and the number of people you serve. Let's strip away the illusion. You're not paid for your time. You're paid for your results. Time is equal. Value is not. That's why someone can earn more in an hour than others do in a month. They've learned to compress value into a smaller window. They've mastered leverage, skills, systems, people, capital. They've found ways to make their value scale without their constant presence. The more leverage you create, the freer you become. So how do you increase your value? Start by becoming a problem solver, not a task doer. Average thinkers say, "What do I need to do?" Wealthy thinkers ask, "What problem can I solve that matters?" Because money follows solutions, not busyness. If you focus on creating genuine solutions, saving people time, energy, or pain, you'll never run out of opportunities. The market rewards clarity and courage. Clarity to see the problem, courage to solve it better than anyone else. Next, master your craft. Excellence is magnetic. When you're exceptional at what you do, you separate yourself from 95% of the population instantly. Most people settle for average effort with average results. The rich become obsessed with mastery because they know one truth. If you're the best at something that matters, you will never struggle to earn. You don't chase opportunities. Opportunities chase you. Another secret to value creation is perspective. Poor mindsets think transactionally. Wealthy mindsets think transformationally. The poor ask, "What do I get for this?" The rich ask, "What does this create?" That's why they build businesses that outlive them. They understand that legacy is the highest form of value. Every time you solve a problem that continues to help people after you're gone, you've built wealth that outlasts currency. Don't forget emotional value. People don't just buy products or ideas. They buy feelings. The way you make others feel determines your influence. Confidence, authenticity, generosity, these are emotional currencies. The more you master them, the more doors open. The wealthy understand this. They don't manipulate emotion, they elevate it. They bring calm to chaos, certainty to confusion, clarity to complexity. That's what people pay for. Emotional relief disguised as service. Finally, learn to exchange value intentionally. Stop undervaluing yourself out of fear of rejection or imposter syndrome. If you deliver value, charge for it. If you solve problems, own your worth. Money isn't evil. It's a scoreboard for value. The more you create, the more you receive. That's not greed, that's alignment. Here's the paradox. When you stop chasing money and start chasing mastery, money starts chasing you. When you make your mission to serve, not to survive, the world finds ways to reward you. Every wealthy person you admire follows this law, whether consciously or not. Value creation is the DNA of financial freedom. Without it, you're stuck trading hours for survival. With it, you build systems, scale impact, and step into abundance. The real question is no longer, how do I make more? It's, how do I become more valuable to more people in less time with greater integrity? Answer that, and wealth becomes inevitable. The energy of money. Money is not paper. It's not numbers on a screen. It's energy. A mirror reflecting how you think, act, and feel about value, control, and self-worth. You attract, repel, and direct money through your energy long before it ever enters your account. That's why two people can make the same amount of money and have completely different results. One builds stability and peace, the other lives in tension and debt. Same income, different vibration. Think of money as an amplifier, not a savior. It doesn't change who you are, it exposes you. If you're disciplined, money multiplies your discipline. If you're careless, money multiplies your chaos. If you're generous, money multiplies your impact. But if you're afraid, money magnifies your fear. People think more money solves their problems, but it only magnifies them. That's why emotional mastery must come before financial mastery, because money expands your internal state into physical form. Let's go deeper. Energy flows where attention goes. If your attention is constantly on lack, bills, and fear, that's where your energy goes, and your money follows. Scarcity is not just a thought pattern. It's an energetic frequency. When you operate in fear, you unconsciously make decisions that block flow. You avoid opportunities, cling to security, and create resistance to growth. Abundance, on the other hand, is an open state. It's gratitude in motion. It's trust that every outflow invites an inflow. Now, don't mistake this for fantasy thinking. Energy doesn't replace strategy, it powers it. You still budget, save, invest, and plan, but you do it from an empowered vibration, not from panic. A fearful investor hesitates until the opportunity is gone. A confident one moves decisively because their energy matches expansion. Wealth creation starts with state management before spreadsheets. Money also mirrors your boundaries. If your energy says, I'm desperate, you attract manipulation, underpayment, and chaos. When your energy says, I know my worth, you attract respect, opportunities, and alignment. That's not magic, it's psychological resonance. People sense energy faster than they process logic. The wealthy protect their energy as fiercely as they protect their investments, because they understand that both yield returns. Let's talk about flow. Every healthy financial system is designed around circulation. Money must move to grow. Hoarding it out of fear chokes the flow, just like overspending drains it. Balance is the key. Spend consciously, save strategically, invest intelligently, give intentionally. Each movement of money should carry purpose. When your money flows through alignment, it multiplies through impact. When it flows through fear, it leaks through chaos. Generosity is another energetic principle most people misunderstand. Giving is not losing, it's signaling abundance. When you give with intention, not obligation, you tell your subconscious that there is more than enough. That belief expands your capacity to receive. It doesn't mean being reckless, it means trusting that value circulates. The wealthy understand this. They tithe, donate, invest in others, and support causes because they know energy multiplies through contribution. Let's address guilt, the emotion that silently blocks more wealth than failure ever will. Many people feel guilty for having more when others have less, but guilt shrinks the soul. You cannot lift others by dimming your own light. Money in the hands of good people does good things. Refusing abundance doesn't help the world, it limits your ability to contribute to it. Replace guilt with responsibility. The more you have, the more good you can do. Every transaction you make is an energetic message. Overspending screams insecurity. Avoidance whispers fear. Wise investment speaks confidence. Money listens to your emotional tone before it obeys your financial plan. When you treat it with respect, gratitude, and purpose, it stays. When you treat it with neglect or desperation, it leaves. Energy doesn't lie. If you want more money, expand the energy that attracts it. Clarity, confidence, contribution. Master the vibration of abundance before chasing the symbols of it. The goal is not just to have more money, it's to become the kind of person money wants to stay with. Because money doesn't visit chaos, it lives with clarity. Building wealth with purpose. If money doesn't have a purpose, it will find one for you, and it usually won't be a good one. People who don't assign meaning to their money always end up chasing more of it, thinking quantity will replace clarity. But money without purpose becomes noise. You work harder, earn more, spend faster, and feel emptier. Purpose is what transforms money from a burden into a blessing. True wealth isn't just accumulation, it's alignment. It's when your money begins to express your values instead of hiding your fears. Every dollar you earn becomes a messenger carrying your beliefs into the world. The question is, what message is your money sending right now? The wealthy don't pursue money for status. They pursue it for purpose, to create, to contribute, to expand. They see money as a magnifier of mission. That's why they seem unstoppable. They're not chasing cash, they're serving a cause. Their wealth flows toward intention. When your actions align with a purpose greater than consumption, money follows you naturally. So what's your why? Why do you want freedom, success, abundance? Be specific. To feel safe is not enough. To prove others wrong is weak fuel. It burns out fast. Your why must be rooted in contribution, growth, and legacy. Something that pulls you forward when comfort tempts you back. Maybe it's to build a life your children won't have to recover from. Maybe it's to free your time so you can teach others what you've learned. Maybe it's to create impact in places where lack still steals potential. The clearer your purpose, the stronger your wealth foundation. Purpose transforms discipline into devotion. When you know why you're saving, the sacrifice feels sacred, not restrictive. When you know why you're investing, patience becomes power. When you know why you're saying no to impulsive spending, it stops feeling like deprivation. It feels like direction. Every financial decision becomes an act of alignment, not avoidance. But purpose also protects you from greed. It reminds you that wealth is not the finish line. It's a tool. Many lose themselves in the pursuit of money because they forget why they started. Purpose keeps you anchored. It prevents success from corrupting the soul. When you know what your wealth is for, you stop using it to prove your worth and start using it to multiply your impact. Let's redefine success. It's not a bigger house or a flashier life. Success is the ability to wake up without financial anxiety, work from passion, not pressure, and give without calculation. It's being able to choose how you spend your time because your money is working in harmony with your purpose. That's freedom, not endless hustle, but peaceful control. If you don't design your financial mission, society will assign you one. Consume, compare, repeat. Break that pattern. Build your own vision. Write down what wealth means to you in vivid detail. How will it look, feel, and function in your life? How will you use it to elevate others? The act of defining your financial mission shifts your relationship with money from survival to stewardship. And here's the secret few understand. When your purpose becomes clear, your energy becomes magnetic. Opportunities align with your mission. People sense your clarity and want to be part of it. Purpose attracts prosperity because it gives money direction, and money loves direction. The richest people are not those with the most zeros, but those whose wealth serves something infinite. They leave behind more than money, they leave momentum. They plant ideas, systems, and opportunities that continue to produce value long after they're gone. That's the ultimate goal, to transform income into impact and cash flow into contribution. If your wealth doesn't serve your purpose, it will end up serving your fear. So, define it, refine it, align every action with it. Because the moment your money starts working for something bigger than comfort, your financial life shifts from ordinary to unstoppable. The mastery of life through financial control. Control your mind, your emotions, and your money, or they will control your life. That truth never changes, no matter how the economy shifts or how fast technology evolves. Mastery isn't about domination, it's about direction. When you command these three forces, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. Think about everything you've learned so far. Your mental programming, your emotional intelligence, your discipline, your identity, your energy, your purpose. Each of these elements is a strand of the same rope. Pull one and the rest move. Together, they create financial stability that no market, recession, or external force can shake. That's not luck. That's internal wealth, the kind that produces external freedom. The people you admire who seem calm under pressure and confident in chaos aren't lucky. They're trained. They've done the invisible work most refuse to do. They've reprogrammed their beliefs, rewritten their stories, and face the emotions that others bury under debt and distractions. That's the real difference between the rich and the struggling. The rich think longer, feel deeper, and act later. They operate from principle, not impulse. They don't let the world dictate their value. They dictate how the world values them. The mastery of money is not about accumulation. It's about awareness. It's realizing that every transaction, every habit, and every thought is a vote for the kind of life you're building. It's understanding that control is not rigidity, it's power with purpose. When you learn to control yourself, money becomes effortless. It starts to follow you instead of flee from you. This is not about becoming emotionless or greedy. It's about alignment. When your mind is clear, your emotions are steady, and your money is managed, you live in harmony with your goals. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You begin to experience peace, the rarest form of wealth there is. Here's what you must remember. Freedom is not a reward. It's a responsibility. You earn it by the way you think, by the way you act, and by the way you treat the resources entrusted to you. The moment you decide to master these forces, mind, emotion, and money, you reclaim the authority that was always yours. You stop living as a victim of circumstance and rise as a creator of outcomes. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are not too small to change everything. The same energy that created your past can rebuild your future. The same patterns that kept you stuck can be rewritten with new beliefs. You have everything you need to build a life of control, clarity, and freedom. It starts with a single decision. Control your mind so your thoughts work for you, not against you. Control your emotions so your mood doesn't rewrite your destiny. Control your money so your future isn't decided by fear. When you do that, life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like creation. You stop asking, "How do I make it?" and start declaring, "This is how I build it." That is the lesson the rich learned early, and the lesson you can live now.